Yo, what is up guys, it's Ghost here. Welcome back to Stormgate Central. So today we've got a pretty interesting Q&A that has been answered by the Frost Giant team. This is over on the Kickstarter for the game. So if you guys are interested in it, I will of course link it down below. But they've gone over some of the first details all about the campaign. So how the campaign is going to be made available to us, how much it's going to cost, and I guess just how they plan to tell this story over the course of the game's lifespan, which hopefully is going to be very long and fruitful. Guys, as always, before we get started, if you guys do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much to me. Thank you guys so much for your support recently. You guys have been killing it. Okay, let's get started. So a short while back, Frost Giant reached out to the Kickstarter backers and gave them the opportunity to ask questions for an upcoming Q&A. And here is a little pie chart showing the different categories for those questions, and you'll notice that the biggest category here is all about gameplay 1v1. No surprises there. They did say they're going to go and answer this category or some of the questions from it in a future update, but for this one, they're talking all about the second largest category, which is the campaign. So here they say, many of you are curious about our plans for the Stormgate campaign, and we are excited to share a little insight into what's in store. First off, the length of the campaign is a tough thing to measure because we are not telling a single self-contained story. Core to our vision for Stormgate is the idea of telling an ongoing story that is released in an episodic format. We don't want players to have to wait for more than a year or longer before being able to experience what's next for our cast of characters and the new universe. So we aim to keep things fresh by releasing more stories on a regular cadence, with each chapter being made up of 3 playable missions. So no, we aren't thinking of big expansions with their own game subtitles, and instead are planning around the episodic approach. So straight away here, this kind of reminds me, if you guys remember all the way back from StarCraft 2, I believe they released one mission pack that was called Nova Covert Ops. I remember specifically buying that one and playing it, and I thought we were going to get more of them, but I guess they just decided to shut that down. This really reminds me of that. I don't remember exactly how many missions that was. I want to say somewhere between 3 to 5 missions, so that certainly seems to be the inspiration for this format. So they continue here, how much entertainment you'll get out of those chapters will vary from player to player, as some of you will race through to see it before getting right back to competing on the ladder or playing co-op versus AI. Others will want to play through these story missions multiple times, perhaps revisiting a mission with friends or doubling back to hunt for Easter eggs. In general, we think a typical 3-mission chapter will represent between 3 to 5 hours of gameplay for the average player, potentially more, but in some cases less. So again, you know, it depends what kind of a player you are. Like they say, some people are just going to play it on normal mode, see the story beats, see what happens, and that'll be it. Others are going to complete it on hard mode, then they're going to do achievement runs, and then maybe even more than that, they're going to give themselves additional challenges like trying to complete it without losing a single unit. Many of you were curious about how much these chapters will cost when the game is released, and apparently here the monetization plan in general was one of the top categories. So this represents our current thinking and is not set in stone, but we are leaning towards selling chapter packs, each containing 3 story missions for approximately $10 US. We feel that it represents a good value to our players and would allow us to continue funding ongoing development for new story chapters for years to come. So just to interject for a second here, I am pretty excited for Stormgate's campaign. We don't really know a whole lot about the lore or the world yet. We know that it is a post-apocalyptic world, and the human vanguard are basically trying to survive against the demons, the infernals. But all I can say is that if they want to sell 3 missions for $10 a pop, that is a fairly steep price if you compare it to StarCraft 2, which obviously released a long time ago, so maybe it's not fair to compare it to that game. But something that is fair to compare it to is the amazing narrative, the world, and the lore of games like StarCraft and Warcraft that the player base is going to be used to and expecting. You wouldn't really think that most RTS games would have that incredible of a story and an amazing narrative, but actually StarCraft is one of the best stories that I've ever heard, you know, going all the way back to the original Brood War with Kerrigan, being left down on the planet and sort of taken by the Zerg, and instead of killed, she was morphed and then became their queen. And then of course that sort of evolved into StarCraft 2, and it became the whole thing of like, is there some good left in Kerrigan, or is she all evil? And then if we think about Warcraft 3, I mean, how many amazing iconic characters have come out of the Warcraft universe as a whole, and then been even more fleshed out over the years in World of Warcraft, right? So, you know, there are big boots to fill here for Stormgate. People are going to be expecting something quite special, especially if you are going to be charging $10 for 3 missions, and if people don't really like the campaign, they're not going to be buying additional mission packs. However, it does seem like they are off to a pretty good start here. They have a partnership with New York Times bestselling author Mickey Nielsen, and also the help of Blizzard Entertainment's Chris Metzen, who is pretty much a master storyteller, I would say. I don't think there's a single thing that Chris has worked on that I wasn't a big fan of. How much he is actually involved here, we don't really know, but I think it definitely bodes well for the future that he is involved. Now, they've also shared here that you will be able to play the campaign missions that you have purchased with a friend via co-op. Now, your friend unfortunately won't have access to achievements, unlocks, so that is one of the drawbacks to them not actually purchasing the mission. So if they want to partake in all of those activities, they are going to have to purchase it for themselves. But nevertheless, if they just want to play through the story on normal mode one time and see what the lore and the world is all about, they can definitely do that with you if you've purchased the missions for yourself. And then they also go on here to say, we are also excited to confirm that we will be introducing new content through the campaign each season, such as new units, heroes, maps, and mechanics to keep things fresh. So a new hero that debuts in a new campaign chapter could then become part of our 3-player co-op and 3v3 rosters, accompanied by the campaign-specific units as part of their modified tech trees. The primary goal here is for the game to feel fresh and exciting with each update. So I guess similar to how we saw Blockade in the co-op mode in the last playtest, he would have been generally introduced via one of these campaign packs. You would have gotten to play 3 missions with Blockade, and then he would also be in the 3-player co-op mode as well. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. We are rapidly closing in on $2 million, and we couldn't be more grateful for the support that you've shown the team. That is insane. The initial goal was $100,000, so to get $2 million is a really amazing success, so congratulations to Frost Giant for that. PS, we'll be seeing many of you in the game very soon and hope that you enjoy this early look at what the team has been building. So don't forget guys, in February you will be able to play the game for free for a week during the Steam Next Fest. If you guys want all the details on that, go and check out this video here. But to close out the video here, I personally don't really have any problem paying $10 for 3 missions. It does seem a little bit steep in price if you compare it to past games, but it is 2024 now. We're not back in 2014 with the release of Legacy of the Void anymore, so maybe that's not necessarily fair to compare it to that either. What I'm more concerned about is how are you going to be able to tell an enthralling story with just 3 episodes? If you plan to have the beginning, middle, and end of your story in those 3 episodes, I don't really feel like that is long enough, unless the episodes are going to be incredibly long, each one of them, to actually get that story out there. And if we're going to stop mid-story, I mean, that's going to be kind of like watching a TV show, watching 3 episodes, and then having to wait a month or 2 until you get the next 3 episodes, and then when you go and watch it, you're like, wait, who is this character? What was happening again? You can't really recall. It's like loading up your save game some months after you last played, and you almost feel like you need to restart the entire game. So no idea how they're going to tackle that. I'm sure they thought about it though, and I'm sure they have some plan of action there. So definitely interested to learn more about the campaign and see what that's going to be about. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. So leave me your thoughts down below. What do you think of the pricing? What do you think about the amount of content we are going to be getting with each pack of missions there? If you missed this video going over all of the details for the upcoming free-to-play open beta on Steam Next Fest in February, feel free to give that one a watch. But otherwise, have a good day, guys. I'll see you in the next one.